Keep your eyes closed. Follow the moment of the quietness, follow the moment of the silence. Allow the body to breathe in, breathe out, inconsciously, unconsciously. And then slowly become conscious and take a slow and deep breath. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Yeah, good evening everyone. Welcome to this unique topic today. The topic name is Dharniya and Adharaniya Vega. It is a unique concept coming from Ayurveda about the natural urges. And I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Shubhangi. She is a practicing Ayurvedic graduate from Moscow. She is based at Moscow at the moment. And very nice to know that she is delivering this lecture from the Russia. Not Russia, rather than Moscow. She has done Ayurvedic graduation, and later on she was running some health companies and has a very nice profile. A few days back, she also completed level 1, that is yoga protocol instructor, and level 3 yoga teacher and evaluate from YCB. So now she is a Ayurvedic graduate with YCB yoga certification. With this, without taking much time, I request Dr. Shubhangi to please start this interesting session on Dharniya and Adharaniya Vega. Thank you, everyone.
Namaste, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, and I hope my screen is visible also.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Prana Yoga Center and Mumbai Vaidya Sabha, I thank them both from the bottom of my heart for this opportunity. Thank you for the generous introduction as well, sir. Now we'll start with today's topic. Today's topic is Adharaniya and Dharaniya Vega. So, journey in this lecture series has been quite interesting. We have so far learned things that is the slide moving?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's moving,
Now
right?
moving.
So we have come through this lecture series and we have learned so many things about Ayurveda. Now this, as I understand, this series is mainly for those who are yoga practitioners, yoga teachers and instructors. So for them to know Ayurveda and the connection of yoga and Ayurveda is very important. And that's why in this series, we have learned so far almost we have covered all the concepts that are essential for a yoga teacher to understand about Ayurveda. We learned history of Ayurveda, concept of health, how mental and physical health and spiritual health is also connected in one definition in Ayurveda. So now we'll and the basic principles of Ayurveda, which like everybody knows major things about today's modern medical science, like how body is made of different organs and cellular structure of body, tissues, muscles, etc., etc. But the principles of Ayurveda, although anatomically are same, physiologically they are different. So understanding those concepts, we have done that in the basic principles of Ayurveda and concept of Mahabhut, concept of dosha, the tridosh, main important dosha, dhatu, mal, and prakriti also we have studied now. All these concepts are basically for for those who are going to learn Ayurveda in future, or those who are aware of these in Yoga Shastra. But there are the rest of the things like ahar, dinacharya, ritucharya, and nidra, which we saw till now. They are more for in these four chapters where they are described initially in Charak Samhita or Bhagavad Samhita. These chapters are intended not for the medical students, not for the students of Ayurveda, but they are for general public. Of course, Ayurveda students also should inculcate those habits in them, but ahar, dinacharya, ritucharya, nidra, all these are meant for general public also. So yoga teachers and their students can also benefit from these concepts. And we are going to learn that later on in details. But these are the points which are very essential. So these are for maintenance of your good health. But what about certain things that happen in our daily life which can lead to diseases? So prevention of disease part comes in the next chapter, where we see the concept of Dharaniya and Adharaniya. So prevention of diseases. So we know, we have learned it in level 3 that body is constantly having metabolic activities, different metabolic activities. There's several, innumerable. These activities always produce a byproduct. Either it is useful or it is discarded by the body. And if it is discarded by the body, it is in the form of maybe urine, feces, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, all these things. These metabolic activity are intended to make your body stress-free, because accumulation of metabolic waste is always causing stress on your body. So to maintain homeostasis, that is to maintain a normal pH balance, temperature, etc., that we have learned already. So maintain homeostasis, expelling the toxins and the waste material is very essential. And this process goes on every day, several times in a day. So now you'll see how the body is trying to cope with stress and trying to maintain the homeostasis. We'll see what are these toxins that toxin substances or harmful substances that body will try to eliminate on a daily basis, and what are the problems that can occur to our body during these processes. If we do not do those processes, if we do not eliminate it properly, what harm it can cause us. Okay, so Adharaniya and Dharaniya Vega is today's topic. And what is Vega? What is Adharaniya and what is Dharaniya? What are these terms? Now, in past few days you have come across so many Sanskrit words and so many terminology in Ayurveda, which are rather new for many of you. So I will just explain you uh, what is this Vega. Vega. In Sanskrit, Veg means we can just guess that it is something related to speed. This is a common word, speed. Okay. But here we see that the body is trying to expel something while maintaining itself in a healthy state. Body is trying to expel something with a speed that is called, that is the Vega. So the excretion process. So the collection of excess or harmful toxins and its elimination is a process. In this process, it is a natural urge that we get to expel these things out. That is called Vega. Okay. So now after we understand the concept of Vega, Vega helps us to expel some toxins, and this process of expelling the toxins through natural urges, we see the examples as urination or defecation or passing out gases, burping, hiccups, all those things. These are the ways the body is eliminating substances. Although the modern science, modern physiology tells us that elimination of waste happens only through respiration, defecation, urination, and sweating. These are the four methods by which our body is physiologically expelling the toxins. But in Ayurveda, in this particular chapter, which falls under the Swasthya Chatushta chapters, this chapter tells us that Vega is the reason, is the way we expel the toxin or harmful things from our body. So these, which are these Vegas? These Vegas, the systemic natural mechanism is done by body, and the Adharaniya Vega are the ones which we should not suppress. There are two types of Vega, Dharaniya and Adharaniya. So now we see these are the Adharaniya Vegas. Now when you look at this slide, you will notice that there are 13 Adharaniya Vegas. Suppression of these Vegas, like when we have the urge, say for example, to urinate, and we suppress that urination urge, which is a very common thing as we all experience it, or defecation, or flatters, or vomiting, sneezing, all these things, they are naturally expelled out of body. And if we stop them, what do? We are actually, now we have learned about doshas, so we know that Vayu is the reason for movement. So expulsion is also one of the job of Vayu. It's one of the karya. And Vayu, if it is in the process of expelling something and we stop it, so what will happen? We have seen that there are 5 types of Vayus. There are Upavayus also we have seen in Yoga Shastra. And all these Vayus, they are doing their functions at different locations. So when we try to stop them from their normal job, definitely there will be a reaction. Every action has a reaction. So on this principle, we can guess that anything that we are stopping Vayu's gati or Vayu's direction of work or force, then we are creating problem in our body. So when we see this, these 13 types of Vega, you will notice that these all things happen to us on a daily basis and several times in a day. for a normal person. And we don't find it anything wrong. Obviously, it is not wrong. It is your natural process. But then why it is said that it is Adharaniya Vega? Why specifically Charak Maharshi said that you should never stop. Na vegan dhare. And in this shloka, it is mentioned, na vegan dhare, it's specifically mentioned under the Swasthya Chatushtoy chapter. That means the chapters, the 4 important chapters which describe our healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle is described in 4 chapters. We have learned about Ahar, one of the chapters. The next one is Dinacharya chapter. We have learned about that. That is all about lifestyle. Rutucharya we are going to learn tomorrow. So Rutucharya is again of the lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. No, what is this? Urination, defecation, ejaculation of semen, flatus, all these things are doing with in this chapter with lifestyle. So we will see unknowingly or knowingly or sometimes purposely, we are all trying to suppress these natural urges. You look at yourself, you look at your surrounding, your friends, or your yoga students, your colleagues, everyone. Everyone is at some point has done this. So we will see, for example, suppression of urine, the commonest suppression. You can easily correlate. Now in India, it is not possible to find clean toilets outdoors. It's very rare to find so, and your traveling distances are too much. So every day, on a daily basis, especially women in India, I would say, that they are trying to control the urination urge. Their bladder is full and they will control. So all these Vegas actually, why, I'll just go quick back to that slide. All these things, if you can see, they are within our control actually. That is why we are able to control it. Okay, so these are all natural urges that are under our control. There are certain things which are not under our control. So you know that the nervous system, which is controlling these, which is as per our will. So these are controllable things. That is why we tend to control them. And then there are health problems. So in this chapter, we learn what happens if we control these things on a long time or on a long duration. Like continuously we do suppression of these urges, then what happens to us? Okay, so briefly, I'll just, these are 13 urges, but we will not discuss entirely today. I'll just quickly go through some of them. Okay, so now symptoms of suppression of urination. When we are traveling, we suppress it. When we are busy with our work, when we don't find clean toilets, we control it. And this leads to certain disorders. Certain symptoms slowly start occurring. If we do it on regular basis, we start getting pain in the urethra. There is first symptom appears is the burning of urine. Urine difficulty in passing urine. Sometimes it because of the burning sensation, we find it difficult to pass the urine without pain. Okay, so urination process, which is a natural and painless process, now because of stopping it long time, we suffer pain, burning, then UTIs, repeated UTIs, which is very common these days. So then gradually this condition increases. Then there are some people suffer from kidney stones as well. So look at the seriousness of this simple thing that we think it is very simple. on a daily basis we control urine, but it can lead to these problems. So that is why this chapter is very important, that we should not hold these. Adharaniya. Dharan means to hold. Adharaniya means we should not hold urination, defecation, all these processes, natural processes. Now, what happens as per Ayurveda? When we try to hold urine, we are stopping the apan vayu. Apan vayu gets vitiated, so it will go in the opposite direction and cause problems. This is a simple explanation as per your awareness of Ayurvedic concept. I'm telling this is the simplest explanation, that apan vayu area, we are blocking its movement downwards. So this happens. Similar thing happens in when we control farts and stool. So fart is a commonest thing. You'll be surprised to know that a normal human being can fart around 20 to 23 times in a day, depending on his food and all, his habit, his health condition, everything. It can go to even more than that. But farting is a natural process that happens with us every day and up to 20 to 23 times a day. We take it very lightly. Actually, it's the topic of humor all around the world. The moment you said fart means, oh, everybody starts laughing. This is a subject of jokes internationally, actually. So, but here it's not funny. We are talking about what happens if we control the fart or the stools. Stools means the motion. This is also very common. Next to the control of urine, I think most common is control of motion and farts. Because of our social code of conduct, we have to suffer this condition. In this condition, if we try to control the fart or flatus, what happens is gas is accumulated in your stomach. It is gas, as you say, has potential to expand. It can go upwards, it can go downwards. Our alimentary tract or the intestinal tract, right from mouth till the anus, is a tube. It's a hollow tube, and it is constantly having peristalsis. It is constantly moving. It does not stop. Even if you don't eat any food, it is still moving. Okay, maybe the rate of movement is slow, but it is still moving. And the process of digestion gives rise to the gases in stomach. So time to time it is eliminated. The other way that we get gases in stomach is our talking. When we talk, we gulp air also. So that also is passing out naturally. With the peristaltic movement, it is passing out downwards. So don't think that you are passing gases. Does it mean that my stomach is not working? I mean, my digestion is not proper. Another reason of passing the farts is that maybe you're talking too much or you are gulping the air orally. That is why you are passing the gases. But of course, you have to look at it from clinical perspective also. If it is too much, then it is a problem. There is some problem with digestion, of course. But here what we are saying is suppression. How this suppression will lead to problems. Now you will see symptoms of discomfort. First symptom appears is a discomfort. You're always uncomfortable. Something is pressing on your tummy wall and you are uncomfortable. This is number one. Secondly, that same thing in excessive gases. If it is formed as a byproduct of your digestion, then it will cause pain also, because the body needs to eliminate them urgently. So that also will cause. And with this non-elimination of gases, feces also get dried. So there is a retention of feces, means the stool or the motion also is turning slowly into a constipation state. So the internal and external. So now what happens in this is a painful and discomfortable situation. Now how we can treat this? So in this case, there are simple, if it is not very painful and if it is not very discomforting, then we can do simple measures. And those measures are told in this chapter, this particular chapters, that we have to apply a little oil on our tummy. We can give hot fermentation to the tummy, and this will release the gases slowly. So we see that uh, elderly people or even small kids in house, if they are complaining of gases and all, it is told in Ayurveda that you apply a little oil on their tummy, whichever is available. The best would be til or erandesleha. But if it is not available, even your cooking oil will do. But application of oil and application of hot fermentation will immediately give release to the gases. And once the gases are out, you feel relieved. It's actually gases can cause terrible pain in your tummy. So never try to hold on your gases. Similarly, about your feces also, motion. When you get a sensation of motion, it was also mentioned in dinacharya that as and when you get your sensation of motion, you must go to the toilet and pass the motion. If you by some reason, for some reason, if you're busy, you're not able to go, then you have to immediately travel to workplace, and again there is no clean toilet, so you don't go. You keep on postponing it till evening, and then by this time the stools are very dry and you have pain in passing motion. There is, first it is discomfort, then there is pain in motion, then sometime later it will start the stools. If they are very hard, then it will cut the NS and you will get bleeding also. So these are the effects, these are the serious effects of holding these Adharaniya Vega. If we try to hold or suppress, these are the serious conditions that we see. So what treatments we can give in this, like again, oily food, means food with lot of ghee will give a smoothness to the feces, to the stools. And sometimes medicated oil enema is also useful in these conditions. Mild laxative on a daily basis also will be useful if you feel these symptoms of long time suppression. Okay, so we will move to the next common suppression that we see. Now we are not supposed to hold these Vegas. Okay, Adharaniya Vega means whenever you have this urge, you have to complete the action that is required. Here we see suppression of hunger and thirst, another common one, but not as common as urine and motion. Okay, so in this one, you will see that there is, like, there are this is very common to nowadays because of the workloads or constant engagement in some or the other meetings, or some sort of, some people are traveling and they don't have time for lunch break. Especially I've seen those who are working in hospital setup, they always tend to postpone their lunches, their breakfast. Many people skip their breakfast. Even if they are hungry, they just skip their breakfast because they have to rush to their office. So this, and kids also. Kids have so much distraction nowadays that they forget to eat, even if the food is lying in front of them. So they are unknowingly suppressing their hunger or thirst also. Okay, so this leads to, again, the pain and not pain, weakness in your body. This leads to gradual weakness. Gradually, that weakness turns into fatigue, weight loss, excessive thirst, and then dullness, dizziness becomes a part of your life. So again, we are heading to a discomfortable lifestyle, a discomfortable and illness prone lifestyle. So the basic intention of Ayurveda is to prevent illness. So any Ayurveda doctor will advise you to eat light food, but on time. Even if you don't have much time, at least grab something, fruit or little light meal, but avoid fast food, of course. But whenever you are hungry, you must eat. Agni or Jataragni is the main player in your health. If you ignore it, if you suppress it, it can lead to many, many diseases. We are not discussing all those diseases here, that we will discuss in the main lecture. But I'm just giving you an idea of what kind of deeper effect on your health you can have just because you have ignored the Jataragni, just because you have ignored your hunger and your thirst. So thirst suppression can lead to confusion, exhaustion, feeling of exhaustion, because see, water is very essential. We are made up of water. 75% below our neck we are 75% water, above our neck we are 85%. So imagine 85% water. So brain will drain, it will start feeling dizzy. Okay, so here, just a minute, just a sec. Sorry. So next we come. Next we come. This is another common. This is another common thing. Late nights, games, gadgets, workload, deadlines of submissions. All these lead to deprivation of sleep. We postpone our sleep because of these. So this again is mentioned as Adharaniya Vega. We should not hold it. We should not suppress it. We must. Yesterday there was a beautiful lecture about Nidra, and those who have attended, they must be knowing how important it is to have a normal sleep. Our body needs normal sleep, and if we deprive our body from normal sleep, and this is what we get: fatigue, mood swings, difficulty in concentration, memory problems, hallucinations, constant dullness, daytime sleepiness. All this happens. Then apart from that, there are, in Ayurveda, it is mentioned that sleep deprivation will affect your beauty also. It will affect your skin, it will give you dark circles, and anyone who looks at you will easily guess that you are deprived of sleep. So this is one of the Vegas which we should not hold. Now we come to the second part, which is called Dharaniya Vega. The Dharani, I'm so sorry. Dharaniya Vega. What is meant by Dharaniya? Which we can hold. Okay. So Dharaniya Vega are mainly three types: Manasik, Kaik, and Vachik. Now, as yoga teachers, we all know, we have studied Yama, Niyama in that, and even to reach to the Samadhi state, we know that we have to control our Chitta Vritti. We have to control all these emotions. So, in Dharaniya Veg, why it is called Dharaniya Veg? Dharaniya Veg is something that you should control. You must put your restraints on these Vegas. So, when we see Manasik, psychological, we see, as the shloka reads, Lobha, Shoka, Bhraya, Krodha, Man, Vegan, Vidhare. So, what does this mean? It's very easy to understand. You're all students of yoga. So, no, you know, what does this mean? Lobha, Shok. Lobha means greed, grief, fear, anger, egoism. All these are what we call as Shadripu, and these are taking our psychological balance into, they just throw this balance into imbalance. Too much of greed, too much of grief, bhaya means fear. We have already learned this in yoga shastra, that all these emotions play in such a way that we lose our psychological balance for that moment. So that is why it is said that these are dharaniya. We have to hold, restrain our mind by holding this. And anyone who is not following it will suffer. He will suffer some mental disorder. That is why we have to hold and restrain our mind. Other part is vachik. By vachik, what do you mean by vachik? Means harsh talks, excessive talk, intentionally hurting someone, backbiting, gossiping about someone, or constantly, talking bad about other people. Negative talk. It gives rise to negativity in your body. And you will be surprised to know that this all negative feelings, and now the research papers are out already, and we know all the Western scientists have studied the effect of this negative feelings, effect of this negativity is changing the DNA. It is even changing our epigenetics. That means our gene expression is changed, DNA is changed because of these negative. See, our since last so many years, thousands of years, Indian philosophy has been telling, yoga has been telling that we must move from negativity to positivity. We should remove all these negative feelings. Now it is proven that all these negative feelings, how deeply they are affecting you. So through yoga and through meditation and some healthy practices, we have to follow yama niyama properly and get rid of these things. Physically, how we go into negative actions is the actions that are troubling others. Hinsa. That is why ahimsa is mentioned in Yama. So excessive indulgence in anything, in stealing, monetary things, or in sex, or in entertainment, or anything. Excess is bad. And how we have to control these things is mentioned in the following chapters that we will study later on. But here I'm just giving you an idea of like how we should control our mind because it is leading to so many health problems and diverting us from a good lifestyle. Okay, so this is in very detail. It is mentioned in Ayurveda. It is mentioned in yoga also in very detail, but even in Ayurveda, it is mentioned in detail how that we should control our indriyas, and if we do not control, what will happen. All that is described in these chapters. So we have had a glimpse of what controls we should maintain, what restraints we should follow. And if we follow, it is said, this is a translation of a shloka, that a virtuous person who is free from all evil thoughts, evil deeds, he will enjoy the fruits of his karma, the good karma, manasik, vachik, kaik. They will lead to good dharma and artha and karma. So we know in yoga also it is said that this life and suffering of previous life also will be wiped away by good karma and good dharma. So these restraints, the Dharaniya Vega, are so important. Okay. So a lot more is to be learned on this topic. I've just given a very brief idea on these different Dharaniya and Adharaniya Vegas. A lot to be learned from this Adharaniya Vega specifically, because Dharaniya Vega, the Manasik, Kaik, Vachik, we already know. Being yoga professionals, we have studied it. But the Adharaniya Vega is more important. Why? Because you see this in everyday life. Now, whatever you have learned about Ayurveda concept, you have to correlate with your own body. Correlate with your own body and you will get the meaning very fast. You will understand everything properly. Be it Prakriti, be it dosha, be it this Dharniya-Adharniya Vega, everything. You correlate with your body and you will understand it, how beautiful this science is, and how you will gradually change your lifestyle for a better one. If you already have a better one, you will go for the best one. And you will be an ideal example for your disciples, your students, and you will be able to identify the students' initial problems, the minor health problems at the initial stage itself. And you will be able to better guide them to proper treatments, by studying these principles of Ayurveda. I hope uh, I have given you good enough idea of the topic. And thank you very much for this chance. Here I stop my lecture. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, now the house is open for question and answer. If anyone wants to ask anything, please ask.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask something.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, as per you have said that hunger is also an Adharaniya Vega. So in
Yeah.
Ayurveda, intermittent fasting is not means allowed.
It is allowed. Intermittent fasting is allowed. But see, you are not holding the hunger, you are making changes. See, intermittent fasting, as per the modern, like what, not even sip of water is not allowed. It's not said like that. You have to make an arrangement to keep your fast so that you don't feel that hungry. Okay. there are portions. I mean, the Ayurvedic way of intermittent fasting is totally different than what modern science is saying. Okay.
Okay. Fine.
So we can go. There are portions that are allowed to be eaten during your intermittent fasting, and the fasting that we are saying, Ayurveda says, is early dinner. Keep the nighttime fasted, and in the morning also you should eat the full meal little later. You may start
Okay.
with warm water. There is a way. I mean, there is a proper way of this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr.
So,
Shubhangi, let me add something what you said. See, a lot of these young girls, celebrities, eh, they become conscious of their food and they start avoiding, suppressing their hunger. You know, a lot of these
yes,
celebrities,
yes, yes.
and
There
they
are
lead into,
diets also which advise them to
yeah,
suppress.
yeah, and it leads to tremendous mental illness. They suffer from anxiety, nervosa, they suffer from bulimia. You know, when you
Very, very
forcefully suppress, eh, when you forcefully suppress, it leads to
correct.
complete, correct. So that is the classical example. So you should fast, but you should know whether you are suppressing or whether you are sublimating. eh. So if you forcefully try to do, then it will have the tremendous negative effect.
Yeah, in fact, in the following lecture series, we will be having this chapter is even more elaborate. Now, I just briefly explained, but there are elaborate ways of how you will change your habits. You know, stomach is a muscle, so you have to put it in a habit. You know, the more you any muscle you give exercise, then it becomes stronger or it builds up. So stomach is also a muscle, and you have to train that muscle to accommodate less at a time. That way you will start reducing your weight if it is excess. Okay, so there are ways. There are definitive and very excellent ways of managing weight as per Ayurveda, which falls also in under the umbrella of, you can say it is under the umbrella of intermittent fasting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Any other question? Okay, okay. Thank you, Shubhangi, for your wonderful insight. See, Ayurveda talks of Adharaniya Vega and Yoga talks of the Dharniya Vega. So it's a beautiful rhythm between both the sciences. eh?
Yeah.
So I think this is a wonderful insight which Ayurveda has given. Ki respect the body signals. eh? And you know, every condition we get the body signals. And if these signals are not respected, they are not observed, it leads into various dysfunction. And that is what the science is trying to convey, that respect your natural urges and respect your natural signals. Uh, with this, we thank everyone for joining this session. And thank you, Dr. Shubhangi, for joining
Thank,
all the way from Moscow.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Tomorrow is the last session, very interesting session of seasonal changes, Ritu Charya. Okay, according to season, how we should change. eh? So please join tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Okay, good night. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Shubhangi, ma'am.
Thanks.